Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the Little Drops of Wonderful podcast. My name is Ali and I am in Kent in the UK, where I live with my husband and our two daughters. This is my podcast to talk about all things knitting and crochet and yarn related, all of the good stuff. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali, and there is a group for this podcast which is linked below and is called, can you guess? It's called Little Drops of Wonderful, and that is linked below along with all of the show notes for things that I talk about and timestamps for all of the sections as well. Can you tell that I've done this introduction about 6 times already? The first 3 times is just my normal start again. I've messed it up, start again. I've messed it up, start again. And then the window cleaners arrived. So I had to then stop everything. And then while the window cleaners were here, I was looking at the cupboard that is annoying me in the kitchen, and I was thinking, I might just start taking the cupboard down. So then I had to get a screwdriver, and then I took the door off. So then I realised I can't really do it on my own. I'll have to wait for my husband. So yeah, this is probably take 8 or something like that. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you to all new subscribers and old subscribers, long term and short term. I really appreciate you all coming back every time to spend a little bit of time talking about our shared passions of yarn related things and listening to my rambling, which I'm doing already. It's been a little while since episode 41. I apologise for that. I've just had quite a lot of life admin really to do. March and April is birthday season in our family. Lilia, my oldest daughter, turns 13 at the end of this month. So we've had a bit of preparation to do for that. It's also my husband's birthday soon, and I'm going away to Ghent in Belgium for a couple of days with work the week after next, so I've had to sort of think about that. We've been planning our summer holiday. We've got that booked. We are going to go. So if you've been watching my podcast for a while, we went to Denmark last year and we absolutely loved it, and I would have liked to go back there this year. The kids were keen on France this year, but we just don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's happening with the B word, Brexit. So chances are everything would be fine with travel within Europe, but we just don't want to risk our one big family holiday a year either getting cancelled or having to sit in endless miles of traffic crossing the border. So we decided to go to Scotland. So we are booked to go. Excuse me, we are booked to go up to a holiday home near Balmeedy, which is in Aberdeenshire, which is where all my family are. But they're not in Balmeedy, they all live scattered around Aberdeenshire. I don't have a very big family, but my aunt and uncle are in Cove, which is just on the coast, and one of my cousins is in Inverurie, and my other cousin lives in Petercuta. So we are going to go to Balmeedy. Hopefully we'll meet up with family. There's a lovely beach nearby. There's a seal sanctuary within a 10-minute drive. And it just looks like it's going to be an amazing week away. So we are really looking forward to that. So we've been excitedly paying our deposit and booking all of that. I've also been busy filming a podcast with Becky from Back to Blighty. So you would have seen that the video before on this channel. So we announced the winners of the Cozy Up for Winter Mow, and that was a lot of fun. I drove down to her house in Sussex. It was a lovely drive. It was a beautiful day, and it was just really, really nice to just drive through such lovely scenery. No kids asking for snacks or anything like that. We had a lovely lunch, and then we filmed the podcast, which her son who is Slip Sip Ginge, who also has a podcast, but I think he's only done 1 episode. He edited it for us, so that was really nice not to have to edit anything. So thank you, Becky, for welcoming me into your home for that podcast, and thank you, Jack, for doing all the hard work. What else have I been up to? I've been running. Oh my goodness. So if you watch the Bakery Bears, every year they do a kind of walking challenge, or walking and running, and I usually walk for it, but my husband's been doing the Couch to 5k. Well, he's done the Couch to 5k. Now he's training for the London 10k in July. So I decided to give it a go as well, and I am now halfway through week 6. So it's been going, touch wood, just touch the little setup my camera's on there without wobbling you. It's been going quite well. Yeah, so I'm on Run Keeper. I think I'm Ali D, Ali capital D. Sounds quite street, doesn't it? Ali D. That's my name on Runkeeper. So if you're on there and you're doing the challenge as well, it's I think it's called the Great Pyramid Walk or something. Anyone can join in. You don't have to be a Bakery Bears Patreon or anything. Anyway, so I've been doing that. What else? What else has been keeping me from just house stuff and trying to get on top of the vast amount of mess and all of that day-to-day stuff? And I have been, my husband and I have been binge watching RuPaul's Drag Race. And if you knew about RuPaul's Drag Race before, well, I didn't. So why did no one tell me? It just took a random conversation at work to bring it up. So we were like, oh, we'll give that a go. So we started with season 4 and we just finished binge watching season 6 last night. So we're ready to start season 7 tomorrow night. And it's just so funny. We just find ourselves just sort of sitting there, just staring at the television like, what's going on? We just love it. Love it. So it is time for me to stop rambling and stop talking about yarny stuff. So today we are going to talk about, finished objects, of which I have 2, works in progress, of which I have many, patterns on my radar, a sharing the love section, some incoming goodies. I'm going to announce the winners of the giveaways from last time. So last time I talked about the 5,000 subscriber giveaway, and there was a giveaway for a pattern, 3 patterns, 2 blah blah blah. There was a giveaway for 1 shawl pattern and 2 sock patterns, and I've also got a new giveaway to announce as well. And then I'm going to talk about a project from Yore, something from the past that I've made, and a few other things as well, and probably lots of rambling and tangents along the way. And timestamps for all of that stuff will be down below. I thought that was the window cleaner's back, but it's not. I've got a new podcasting book, which I bought in the works, which is a lot bigger than my old one, and now I can really get all my notes out a lot clearer. So I'm very pleased with that. And before I start talking, I'm just trying to rearrange everything that's on the table in front of me. I feel like I need to just calm down and slow down. I feel like I've just gone blah at you already. Right, calm down. Do you like my new jumper? It has got lobsters on. It's from Oasis, and a lovely a couple of people actually on Instagram messaged me to say that they'd spotted this in Oasis. So I went and tried some on, and there were a few, and it's really nice. It's kind of lined with this kind of fleecy stuff, which is really cozy. And it's quite a warm day, so I feel quite hot. And of course, because I've got a lobster jumper, I had to have my lobster mug to match because I love lobsters. Right, very important announcement before anything else. The Little Drops of Wonderful pin. Do I have one to hand? Got one here. So if you're not aware, I designed this little pin. Get in there. Can't get. There it is. You are a little drop of wonderful. So I designed this pin, and they sold out really quickly. So I ordered some more. And they sold out really quickly as well. But now I've got some more. I've got about 80, I think 80. Yes, I've got 80 pins ready to go. And I thought what I would do so that people could prepare this time, because the first time I just uploaded them and they went. And the second time I did a pre-order. So this time I thought I might put them in the shop at a certain time, so that you know when they're going to go up and you can go along and buy one if you know when they're going to be there. So this, by the time I've edited this podcast and it goes out, it will probably be the weekend or tomorrow. Today's Thursday, the 7th of March. It's World Book Day. Happy World Book Day. Except my children don't go dressed up until tomorrow. And Phoebe's going to go as Marge in charge. Anyway, So it'll be the weekend probably before this goes up. So I'll give it a week and then I'll upload the pins to the Etsy shop next Sunday. That's what I'll do. So next Sunday, which is, I'm going to have to work this out now. I don't know what the date is next Sunday. If today is the 7th, next week 14th, 17th, possibly the 17th of March. I'll put the date on the screen, but I will do it at, let's say, 7 p.m. on Sunday, the whatever's on the screen of March, and I'll upload the 80 pins there. So you can set, and that is UK time, Greenwich Mean Time. So if you can set your reminders, and if you are wanting a pin, because you don't have one, then that's the time to hop on over to the Etsy shop, and that will give like a good few days between the podcast being published, so it'll give people time to watch and hear me say that in a very not succinct way. Okay, so we're 10 minutes in and I haven't even talked about anything to do with knitting or crochet yet, so shall we move on to finished objects? I have 2 finished objects. Which one should I do first? Okay, let's do the one where I mess up my hair first, and then I'll have to mess about with my fringe for the rest of the podcast. I talked about last time a lovely lady called Ainur, who is Mama's Teddy Bear on Instagram and Ravelry. She is a lovely designer, and I talked about a few of her things, but the thing that I really wanted to make was her raspberry jam beret, which I have now made. Here it is. I've made it using Blue Sky Fibres wool stock, worsted in the Earth Ivy colour, which there's going to be a shadow because the window is right in front of me, but I have a mirror in front of me so I can see my iPhone. So it's going to cast a shadow, I think. But here is the colour of it and the pattern. It's such a lovely pattern to make. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to go and answer the phone and put it on at the same time. I feel like I'm destined to just have issues for the whole of this podcast. Anyway, that was just a sales call. And this is my beret. This is my raspberry jam beret. I could not be more thrilled with it. I love it. I love a beret. I don't know if it's because I've got a fringe, but I just find them nice and easy to wear because they kind of sit, I think they're supposed to sit a bit further back on your head. Oh my goodness. How much do I love this hat? I love it very much. I love the colour, I love the yarn, I love the pattern, I love the way it fits. I blocked it on a dinner plate. The more I do this, the more I realise I need my fringe. I can't see. I blocked it, oh my goodness, on a dinner plate, which I haven't done before. When I've made a couple of berets before, but I just soaked them and laid them flat, because I didn't want to overstretch them. But this one really worked well. I put it on a full-size dinner plate, really stretched it over, and it gave that really good round shape like that. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And it's actually really good for this time of year, because although we're getting some really lovely spring weather here in the UK, it is still quite chilly, and yeah, a little beret. Perfect. And it'll probably be perfect for a holiday to Scotland, because I'm not expecting to have basking hot weather in Scotland. So yes, the raspberry jam beret by Mama's Teddy Bear, who is lovely Ainur on Instagram. Absolutely love it. Brilliant. Right, next up is my self-merging socks. Now, over Vlogmas, I dyed some yarn. I had an extra long skein of yarn from, I think it was Devon Sun Yarns, and it was skeined up really, really long so that you could dye it to do self-striping. I'm just going to have a mouthful of tea, because I'm exhausted after all that running around, dealing with window cleaners and taking off cupboard doors and answering the phone. So I decided to dye it up as self-striping, but as I kind of got a bit carried away with all the colours, and they kind of became self-merging. These socks are quite exciting for a couple of reasons. Well, a few reasons. The first reason is they're finished, yay, which is good, because I'm quite slow at doing anything. There are a pair, there you go. And you can see despite the shadow, sorry about that. I need to upgrade my podcasting equipment. So you can see they are indeed self-merging or almost self-striping. I'm very pleased with it, and I dyed the contrast colour as well. I'm not too happy that I chose to do a contrast cuff. I wish that I had done the cuff just in the main colour and just done a contrast heel and toe. Oh, and the heel is Eye of Partridge heel, which I don't think I've ever managed to actually successfully do. So I'm really pleased with that. I did a 20 row cuff because I wanted a really deep cuff. But the most exciting thing about these socks is I did not use a pattern. I just used my knowledge of making socks from my head and a tutorial for the how to do the pattern for the Eye of Partridge. But everything else I did, I just made it up as I went along. So I knew I wanted a deep cuff, so I just did a 1x1 twisted rib because I like that for 20 rows, and then I just joined in and I worked. Actually, I can tell you because I've got my sock notebook. This is my notebook where I keep all of my notes about socks, because even though this pair of socks is pair 29, I can't believe I've knit 29 pairs of socks. That's amazing. And I still feel like I've only just got to the stage where I could just make it up as I went along. So I knit 41 rounds on the leg because I don't like my legs too long. I wear them with skinny jeans, and I find if they're too long, it's too much of a faff to get my jeans over them. And then I joined in my contrast colour, looked up a tutorial online for the Eye of Partridge heel, and then I looked up another tutorial online to do the heel turn, which is a German short row heel, I think. It's the one where so what I did was I knit half the number of the heel flap stitches, and then did an SSK, knit one, turned, then slipped one, purled three, purled two together, purl one, turn, and then I kept doing it like that until I ran out of stitches, until all the stitches was worked. And I should also say that I did a 60 stitch count because I knit these on DPNs, and usually I do a 56 stitch count. But I find that the knitting with DPNs has kind of tightened up my gauge a bit. So I did 60 this time, and that seems to have worked well. And actually on my next pair of socks, I've gone up to 64 because I really do think that knitting with DPNs has tightened my gauge that much. The heel flap, I did enough so that I could pick up 17 stitches plus one in the gap. Then I did the gusset decreases back down to 60, and then I did another, I haven't written it down, but it was 51 rows until I started the toe. And the reason I did 51 was because on the first sock that I did, if I hadn't have done 51, then I would have joined the contrast colour for the toe into the grey of the stripes, and I didn't want to. I wanted a bit of colour, and it just worked out that if I did an extra row, that meant that I wasn't going to, there would be enough of a gap between the greys, if that makes sense. And then I just did a normal wedge toe. So yeah, I'm very excited about these because I dyed the yarn, and I made them just based on my knowledge of how to make a sock, which I find immensely exciting. I knit them without a pattern. Yeah, so I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with those. They're all blocked, and now I can wear them. And I've got left, let's have a look. Just pop those over there. Did I write it down? Yeah, I've got 79 grams of the grey left. Whoops. Which is the stuff I dyed as a contrast, which is actually an opal yarn that I got on eBay and then dyed. So that's just a 75-25, but it's opal undyed. Yeah. So I've got that left, 79 grams, and then of the self-merging, I've got 62 grams left. So I've actually got enough to do another pair of socks, which is rather exciting. So I may just do that. But also this colour I really like, and I think it might work well with another colour in a shawl. I just really like that dark variegated grey and pink. who knows? Who knows? I'll definitely knit another pair of socks with the stripy stuff. It's just what to do with the other stuff. Anyway, I'm loving DPNs, absolutely loving them. I ordered some more, but we'll get to those in a minute. Actually, we'll get to those now because we're going to move on to works in progress. Okay, where do we start? Right, my first work in progress is one that is so near to being finished, it's almost a finished object. And that is my Nalya Wrap, which is a pattern by Shara Made. And I've been working on this for so long that it's still in a Christmas bag. And this was a Christmas bag made for me by Susanne from Inside number 22. And she sent this to me in the run up to Christmas. I have, where's the pattern? Oh, I've taken it out already. So I printed out the pattern to use, and I can't remember if it's a paid for pattern or not. Can't remember. Anyway, can't remember if it's free or paid for. But this is the Nalya Wrap. It is designed, it's a crochet pattern, and it is designed to use up minis from an advent, yarn advent. And I used minis from the Little French Meadow advent calendar. They gifted me their advent calendar this year. I was very lucky to receive that, and I wanted to put it into one big project so I could see all the minis together. But what I did do was take out some of the sort of darker tones. I'll get to showing you the actual thing in a minute, but these are the colours that I took out. They are all beautiful. But they're sort of more jewel tones. They're a little bit darker, and there was this one as well, because I initially put this one in and then just realised it was going to be too dark in the greater scheme of things. So those are all the beautiful sort of colours I took out. So I don't know what to do with those. They'd make a good pair of scrappy socks maybe, because that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grams. Or maybe I could put them together to do as a little giveaway. I don't know. I don't know if I want to give away my Little French Meadow yarns. They're too precious. But we'll pop them all together there. So those are the ones I took out, and then these are the ones that went in. And because I took some out, I put some in from elsewhere, which I will explain. So here it is. It's not been blocked, and it hasn't got it. So the reason it's not finished is it's not been blocked, and there were supposed to be on the ends, you can see, tassels. Yeah, so I haven't done the tassels yet, so it needs blocking and tassels, but otherwise it is finished. So it's got, goes from there. Impossible to show you in one go. It keeps going all the way to here, and then it's bordered with what I call single crochet, because I crochet in American terms, but in UK terms it's bordered with a double crochet border. So I've used, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 colours. So one less than I would have done if I'd done a full 24. But what I did was, these last 4 colours are the mini skein, the Little French Meadow mini skein clubs. These 2 are the ones for December. And I believe, let's see what they were called. So the December ones were called Winter Tales, Icicles and Snowy Sky. That's those 2. And then I still didn't think it was quite long enough, so I added in the January ones as well, which were called Midnight Fireworks and A New Beginning, which are absolutely beautiful. And I've even got the little 2019 stitch marker that came with it, because I didn't want it to just end kind of mid riff. I'm going to stand up and see if I can show you how long it is, hopefully. Right, I can't see what you can see. No. Obviously we've got the addition of tassels to come as well. Can you see? So it goes all the way down on the chair. On the chair. These are my hips here, and it comes down below my hips. So because I just thought I didn't want it to be up here because that would just feel weird. I wanted it to be nice and long. And when I showed Dan last night, he said, oh no, that's perfect length. That's Doctor Who length, that is. I was like, yeah, that's what I was going for. Doctor Who length. So that just needs blocking and tassels, and I love it so much. Everyone, go and make one with your minis. I've got so many Little French Meadow minis that I'm so tempted to actually make another one, but that would be bad. That would be crazy because this was a lot of crocheting. It's so long, you know, it's probably the same amount of crocheting went into this as possibly a blanket. But it was very, very easy to do once you got the hang of where to do the little increases and decreases. I was away, you know, it was absolutely lovely. And then there was a lot of ends to weave in, but I really like weaving in ends. So yeah, so there's a lot of RuPaul Drag Race watching has gone into this. Serving up crochet realness. Right, moving on. Next work in progress is, now my sister and I had, so my sister turned 40 at the end of January, and I bought her, among other things, some yarn. And when I bought the yarn for her, it was from Ellie at Craft House Magic, and it's the Over the Rainbow colourway. Here's the here's her little thing. It's a bit crushed because it's been in the bag, and it's the Over the Rainbow colourway. And it came, I bought a sock set for my sister, and I was a bit jealous, and I thought, oh, I'm going to buy this lovely present for her, but I want it, so I bought two. And it came with a little mini, contrast mini. You had the option to either get it with or without, and it's coming out pretty well despite the shadow. It's called Cloudy Skies to go with it. And this is what the beautiful yarn looks like, all balled up. I think I showed it to you last time, not balled up. And I can report that it is not self-striping, like I said last time. I don't know where I got that from. It's a lovely variegated. It's like a washed out pastel-y rainbow colour. It's absolutely lovely. So that's all balled up there. And my sister's got hers, and we decided to have a little sisterly knit along, just the two of us. We've even invented our own hashtag, which is the sibling sock along. We started on the 1st of March, but unfortunately my sister is a lot quicker than me at knitting and has possibly slightly more time, especially as she's done her back in and she's spending a lot of time resting in bed. So get well soon, Jenny, and please don't overtake me too much in the sock knitting. It's all living in my lovely, lovely yellow bag from lovely Sherry. This was a present from Sherry, who is Ollie and Bella. There's her little lovely, lovely little tag there. I think it's like a little leather type tag, and that's on the front, very professional. And of course it's yellow, which is my favourite colour of all time, and it's perfect for my little project here. And what I've taken to doing is keeping any little cards and things. So when she sent it to me, she sent it with this little postcard and one of her little business cards. That's what her business card looks like. That's her deets. And I've taken to keeping them in the bags if I get gifted a bag, so then I've always got that to read every time that I use it. So I've got that in there. Oh, and I've also got matching. I've got a little pencil. I bought a pack of retractable pencils, you know, the type where the lead comes out, for using to mark on my patterns. I prefer to use a pencil because then I can rub out any notes that I make and do it again without having to reprint it. And I prefer the pencil to retract because then it won't get all on the fabric inside my bag. So I just bought a pack of these, I think from, I don't know, Asda or the Works or something. And they're all different colours, so I can coordinate them with my project bag, which is very satisfying. So I've got that there. And I'm knitting them on DPNs. Oh, I should probably tell you what we are knitting. So we're knitting socks, and we are knitting the Drippity Drop Socks by Kay Jones. Lovely, lovely Kay, who is one half of the Bakery Bears. I've never made one of Kay's sock patterns. I have made one of her cow patterns, which I made for my husband, which he then lost. Less said about that, the better, but I'm going to be making another one. Yeah, lovely Drippity Drop Socks. I've had my eye on this for a while. I bought them, I think she had a discount code a little while ago, so I bought the pattern then. I haven't written, usually I write down what the price is otherwise, but yeah. So there you are, and I'm knitting them on DPNs. This is the one that's got further than the other one. I'm knitting them concurrently on DPNs. So I've got one set here in my Knitting I Love DPN holder, and I was using this the other day. I had to work on Saturday, which I don't often have to do. I work in a museum, and we open the first and last Saturday of every month, and I very rarely work a Saturday, but they were stuck, so I said I would do it. And at the end of the day, I went out just to sit on the front desk whilst we were getting ready to close up, and I took my knitting with me, and someone came in, and she was wearing a knitted shawl and knitted jumper and knitted socks, and she was admiring my DPN holder. So I gave her your details, Barbara. I sent her your way. And this is my first little Drippity Drop sock. I've done my cuff. I've done 18 rows for the cuff, because I felt maybe 20 was a little bit too many, but 15 called for in the pattern I thought was not quite enough. So I did 18, and you can see the little pattern starting to work up there. Isn't that pretty? Really, really pretty. Really enjoying this so far. And I'm doing this on 64 stitches on 2.25mm DPNs. So that's sock number 1. And then sock number 2 is only the cuff, so I won't show you that, but it is living in this gorgeous little DPN holder that looks like a cloud. And that was from Eva, who is Coco and Flora. And I wonder if there's a little, yeah, I'll show you her little tag. This was a gift last year, so it's got this beautiful little spotty lining, and there is her little Coco and Flora tab. She makes absolutely beautiful things, Eva, and they are just done with such attention to detail. I love it. So I'm really pleased to be able to use my little DPN holder and my little Knitting I Love DPN holder as well, because I'm going to just knit them concurrently as I go. So that's how far I've got with those. That is our sibling sock along. Right, let's get that all back in the bag. Get in there. Okay, my next work in progress is not actually a work in progress just yet, but I wanted to show it to you because I've got it all together ready to go. So the DPN holder that Eva sent me came with this bag, and this bag she sent to me because of the name of my podcast, Little Drops of Wonderful. So it's got little umbrellas on, and look at the little progress keeper. It's an umbrella too. And then inside she included, so that's how it's lined inside, and there's also a little pocket. Look how perfect all of that is. I mean, she is one clever cookie. And then there was this little pot inside. Hide my face. And inside the little pot was stitch markers, but the stitch markers, let's see if I can get them all together. Ooh. The stitch markers are, in her words, little drops of wonderful. How cool are they? And another little umbrella one there. So I've got all those to use as well for this project. I'm all set up, ready to go. And I'm going to be using DPNs. These are going to be socks, and this time I'm using 2.25, but they are 20cm long ones, which is slightly longer than I think is normal for knitting socks with DPNs. But I accidentally ordered some when I was knitting my self-merging socks, and I actually really liked them. So I ordered some more, so I've now got 2 sets, and then I had a custom made DPN holder from lovely Rachel. Forgot your name for a minute, Rachel, who is So Ray Me, and she years and years ago made me a custom crochet hook roll, which is this here. And I remember I took ages choosing all of the fabric and everything. There's a little thing, and that has just lasted me forever. I mean, I've had this for years now, and I love it, and I use it like every day. I use it all the time. So I contacted her to see if she would make me an extra long DPN holder. Here it is, and she's done it in this lovely yellow fabric, and then on the inside I just said line it with whatever you like, and she chose this one, and it's absolutely beautiful. So that is going to fit my 20 centimetre DPNs just perfectly. So thank you for that, Rachel. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in with that. And what I'm making is some socks for Dan. And part of the reason I want to get these cast on is because I'm going to Belgium in a couple of weeks with work. We're only going for one night and 2 days, one night. But I have to, we're going by train, so I'll be going from Ebbsfleet International across to Brussels, and then we'll get a train from Brussels. It's about half an hour to Ghent, and then we'll get a tram from there to the museum Dr. Ghislaine, which is a kind of sister museum of ours. It's also dedicated to mental health treatment and the history of mental health and art and mental health and so on. So that's where we're going in a few weeks' time. This yarn I bought at the Southern Wool Show in Newbury last September, which I went to with my sister. It is Hot Socks. It is a German yarn. Hot Socks? Yeah, Hot Socks pearl colour with cashmere. There we go. So it's a nice bit of a posh one. 75% wool, 20% polyamide, 5% cashmere. And when I bought it, I just bought it because it was really good value and I quite liked it, and I fancied trying something different. And it's one of these types of yarn that knits up in a pattern like that. Now I thought that was quite girly, but Dan sort of took one look at it and said, oh, I really love those colours. I'd like socks in that yarn. So I said, well, your wish is my command. You may have socks in that yarn. So I'm going to make Dan socks with this, and it'll be perfect for knitting on the train as I travel. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to knit them plain because obviously they're already quite patterned, and I've got Mina Phillips vanilla sock pattern. I might use that, I'm not sure, just to try some different techniques for the heel and so on. So I might use that, I'm not sure yet. If not, I'll just do a basic vanilla sock because I can do that now, you know. So that's my next kind of almost work in progress. Work in progress adjacent. Is that how you, I don't know. Okay, my next work in progress is one I'd forgotten about, and I'm going to show it to you so I can hold myself accountable. It's living in this glorious bag, which I won. It is from Eldenwood Craft, and I won this about a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago. They did Emma, who is Eldenwood Craft, did a who did she do it with? Oh, goodness me, I'm having a complete mind blank. It was Emma and another lady, and they did a knit along for some mittens, some stripy mittens, and I won a skein of Lay Family Yarn. Before she was Lay Family Yarn, she was called what was it? But Duck something? No, the yarn was called Duckling, and I think Lay Family Yarn was called like Lakeside Yarn. Anyway, it was a long time ago. And I also won this beautiful bag from Emma, and inside it I just found this the other day and I was like, what on earth is this? And then I remembered that I'd started, oh, it's a bit tangled, I started this ages ago. I had this leftover yarn. I made Dan some Hufflepuff socks quite a while ago. This was self-striping yellow and black, and it was a gift, I think, also from Emma. It was a gift from Emma, and she knew she wasn't going to use it, and she gifted it to me, and I made Dan socks with it. And then with the leftovers, I started to make some mittens for Phoebe, who is also a Hufflepuff. And I have this grey yarn, which is it's actually a hand-dyed yarn from Strand Designs. It was one of the very first hand-dyed yarns I bought. And Karina, who is Strand Designs, she doesn't dye anymore, which is a shame because she was really good at it. And I was holding it double with the Hufflepuff yarn to make a DK weight. And I was just basing it on this pattern, the Yore Wizard Mitts by Gamer Crafts, doesn't say on here, but it is by Gamer Crafts or Gamer Crafting. And I made Lilia a pair in a kind of Gryffindor colourway. And it came, when I bought the Gryffindor colourway from Gamer Crafting, it came with this little free pattern. So I'm kind of basing it loosely on that. And it looks like I'm making it on 2.75mm needles. Yes, I'm going to have to untangle that a bit and then crack on with that, and then I'll get those finished. I can put them aside for Phoebe's Christmas or her birthday, because she's a winter baby, so that'd be perfect for her birthday. So yeah, really pleased to have found those, but I do need to crack on, and it's another whip in the pile. My final work in progress, yes, this is my final work in progress for now, is something I showed last time that I haven't actually made any progress on, but I thought I don't think I've made progress on it. It's living in this amazing bag, which was a present I showed last time from lovely Arminty. I've added to it a little birdie that I bought at last year's village fair that we have every bank holiday Monday. And in here is my falling ivy shawl, which was a pattern by Hannah Seidman. She is Cozy Cottage Crochet. That's the falling ivy shawl. Oh, sorry. That's the falling ivy shawl in black and white. Like that. Hannah gifted me a copy of this pattern when she also gave a copy for a giveaway a little while ago. I'm making it in 2 tones of grey, and the yarn I'm using is this lovely Drops Cotton Merino, which is lovely to work with, incredibly soft, and has this kind of lovely mild colour. So I'm using a light grey and a dark grey. But I haven't worked on this in a while because I've been so addicted to my Nalya Wrap and getting that finished. I just don't want to look at a Christmas bag anymore. I just think it's March, got to get it finished. So I'm really pleased to have done that. And now I can put a bit more time in this. So this is how it's looking so far. I can't remember where I was up to last time I showed you, but I've just started on the next colour. So you can see how really nice that yarn's working up. It's a really nice clean contrast. I really like it, and it is so unbelievably soft. Absolutely love it. So that's, I haven't made much progress on it, but I'm really enjoying that project. And now that I've finished my Nalya Wrap almost, I can get on with this of an evening as well as all the socks and the mittens and everything else. So yeah, brilliant project, and thank you very much to Hannah for that lovely pattern. Okay, speaking of patterns, let's do some patterns on the radar. So my first, so this is where I talk about just patterns that are on my eye line on the horizon that I'm thinking about possibly making, along with the billions of others, but the ones that I just want to talk about and show. So the first one was sent to me by Lacey. She is Hooked on Owls. She has the Hooked on Owls podcast. She gifted this to me in January, but you can buy it, I think it's about $3.60 or $50 on Ravelry, which is about £2.80 in UK money. It is a bulky weight shawl. Now I don't have much in the way of bulky weight, and I want to change that because a lot of the patterns I'm seeing lately are bulky weight or Aran weight or just heavier weight yarns, and they're really appealing to me. Look at those colours. Yeah, so it's called the Sonora shawl. It is a beautiful crescent type shawl. Here's another picture. Sorry about the shadow. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, really like that. So that's on my horizon, but I'm going to have to think about yarn and whether I want to use some of my fingering weight yarn that I have in my stash, which I'm trying to get through, and hold it double or triple or whatever you need to hold it in order to get a sort of thicker weight yarn, or whether I want to start thinking about different yarns in a bulkier weight. So thank you very much, Lacey, for that. I was also gifted this lovely hat, and I had been admiring this hat. So when Barbara sent this to me, Barbara of Knitting I Love, I was absolutely thrilled to bits. I had been talking about the minis I received as a Advent, a 12 days of Christmas Advent from my lovely friend Hilary in Australia. She sent to me the 12 Days of Christmas Advent from Hannah at Rose Hip Yarns, Rose Hip Knits. And Barbara had seen this and she said, well, how about this for a pattern? And it is her Full of Minis hat. Now this is usually about €4.50, which is about £4. It's a fingering weight pattern, and it's designed to use up 24 5-gram minis, but obviously you can use as many or as little as you want. You could do it in one colour, or you could use many. And it creates this really thick kind of ridged texture, and what she says is it makes it even though it's fingering weight, it makes it really warm because it kind of makes it chunky, and it's a really interesting looking hat, so I really like the look of it. I think it would work well with my minis. That might be a really good project. It's whether or not those colours would suit me when I wear them. I'm going to have a break in a minute because my phone's telling me off. It says the battery's low. Let's get through this bit and then we'll give it a bit of charge. Right, my next so my next pattern on my radar will lead me nicely on to sharing the love. Okay, so I've got 2 people on my sharing the love section for this episode. So if you remember last time, in my sharing the love section, I talked about some new to me designers that I had found using the diverse knitty hashtag on Instagram. The conversation about racism and representation and inclusion within the Yarny community is still ongoing, and feels from where I'm sitting to be such a positive thing. Some wonderful changes are happening, and for me, my feed is so much my feed, and the way I use Instagram, actually the way I was using Instagram was changing as Instagram was getting bigger, and when the algorithm changed, I know we all hate that algorithm. And then when the adverts came, and then all of those awful accounts, those spam accounts, Crochet Daily, Knitting Daily, we will steal all your pictures, and just anyway, it was beginning to irritate me, and it still does irritate me, but my feed is now changing, and the way I use and look at Instagram is changing, and it's partly due to the conversation that had happened, and the way I then changed the way I looked at Instagram and how I use it, and what I was looking at, and how my feed represented actually real life, and I'm rambling. And I think that has all changed for me anyway, on the whole, for the better. I use it in a very different way, but I think I use it in a more realistic way now. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, so last time I shared 3 new to me designers that I found via the diverse knitty hashtag, and I still have many more, but for this episode I just wanted to share 2 more. They both have new patterns out that really, really interest me. So the first one I have right here because I'm already swatching for it. So I want to talk about Natalie, who is Detroit Knots, because she's in Detroit in the States. So Detroit Knots on Instagram. She's also Detroit Knots. No, she's not Detroit Knots on Ravelry. I think she's Natalie at Detroit Knots on Ravelry. She is a crochet designer. She first caught my eye, so I'd found her via the diverse knitty hashtag, and then I saw her ribbit tee, and I'm going to put a picture up. I've asked Natalie if it's okay for me to use some of her pictures, and she has very kindly said yes, so thank you, Natalie. So this is her ribbit tee, and I just love this. I like the short sleeves. I like that kind of ribbed V-neck, and I just think this would look lovely in a kind of grey and quite baggy, and to wear over something, and it just really intrigued me. And actually I think someone else was talking about this pattern as well. Who was it? Claudia of Crochet Luna. She was talking about it too, and I don't know if she started it or not, but I'd be intrigued to see how hers turns out. So that's what first caught my eye. I put that in my favourites, and then I was following Natalie, and then she recently released the My Favourite Jeans top. And if I thought, oh, this is printed really badly, it doesn't matter because I'm going to put a picture up. So this is the My Favourite Jeans top. This is her latest pattern. Now, interestingly, this is a free pattern. You can get it free on the Stitch and Hustle website, so it's stitchandhustle.com. But if you want to get a PDF ad-free version, and also obviously if you want to support the designer who's put all the work in, you can buy it, and it is $6. You can buy it on Natalie's Etsy store, which I have done. I bought the ad-free PDF because I don't know, I feel like if someone's designed something and I've got the option to pay them for it, I'm gonna. So it only works out at £5.80, so it's not exactly a lot of money. And the brilliant thing about this pattern is the sizes go from extra small to 4X. So the range of sizes is loads. And I want to make this with a relative amount of positive ease. I'm seeing it as a kind of baggy, comfy, something I can just throw on at this time of year when it's still a bit chilly, when I'm hanging the washing out or nipping up the road to the post box or whatever. And I've got some yarn, so it was kind of one of those situations where everything was just coming together. I saw the pattern, and the pattern is for Lion, it uses Lion brand jeans, which is hence the name of the top, which is a worsted weight yarn. Now I have got some worsted weight acrylic yarn in my stash, and it was a gift from my very, very lovely non-knitty friend. She has not got a clue, not a clue, but for my 40th birthday she bought me an enormous box of yarn, and she just chose the colours she liked. She didn't know anything about the different weights or anything like that. She didn't know what she was doing, and for that reason it's so special. It's such a lovely gift and such a lovely thing, and so thoughtful for her to do. So I've got this yarn, and the Aran weight that was in the box, I've got, it's paint box at Simply Aran. So I've got 2 white, and then I've got these 2, then I've got 3 different sort of shades of purple. I've got a really rich purple, and then I've got like a lilac-y, and then a lavender, like that. And they're all paint box Simply Aran. Here you can see I've started to do a little swatch. I haven't quite got gauge yet. The pattern calls for 5.5mm hook, and this is a 4.5, and I'm still a bit off. So I think I'm gonna either have to go down to a 4, but I don't want the fabric to become stiff, because I think that this Aran is slightly thicker than the Aran that's used in the pattern. So I might just stick with this fabric because I quite like it, and this make a different size to make up for the difference. I'm saying that like I know how to do that. I don't. It's going to take me a lot of working out, but I'll get there in the end. So it's a My Favourite Jeans top. It's a kind of short sleeve or 3/4 length sleeve, and it's got this lovely kind of boat neck, which I love. I don't like to, she says, wearing a jumper that's right up here. But I really love to have something that's a little bit lower around the neckline. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to be making that. She says that her style aesthetic is sexy librarian, which I think is really good. And that neckline is just really flattering, and the length is adjustable too, so you can make it to sit wherever you want, and it just looks really interesting. It's worked flat, and then you seam it together. She's also got several other beautiful designs. She's also really good at Tunisian crochet. She's got the Tunisian curve scarf in her Ravelry store, and she's also got something called the Modern Gatsby dress. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. So go and have a look at her designs and look up the Modern Gatsby dress. I've never seen anything like it. It's so cool. So that is lovely Natalie of Detroit Nuts. Definitely go and check her out. She's really, really lovely. She's got some amazing designs, and like I say, I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that really special gift yarn and trying to make that top. I don't make garments that often, and I need to make more garments, so I do feel really excited about it. Right, the next person I want to share with you that I've discovered on Instagram is lovely Kunbi. Now she is handmade by Kunbi. She's a UK girl and she lives somewhere up north, but she knows the area I grew up in really well. She spent time there several years ago, so she knows where I'm from, which I grew up in a place called Erith, which is one of the places mentioned in Charles Dickens' Great Expectations. It's not the nicest place in the world, but that's where I grew up and she knows it well. Anyway, so Kumbi, she has got, do you know when you, excuse me, do you know when you stumble into somebody's IG feed and you're like, oh yes, I'm going to be following this person because they just have, like, you just like every picture. And she takes a mean selfie as well. She's very good at the selfies. And yeah, I absolutely love her. And she's very chatty and she's so friendly and positive. And she posts the most positive things. And she's got two gorgeous girls. And one of them's only little, she's a baby. And I think Kumbi's only just gone back to work. And I remember what that was like when you sort of go back to work and you're so pleased to go back to work. Because you get adult contact in the real world again and go to the toilet by yourself and make a cup of tea, but also it's really difficult because you miss your baby and you've got to make those adjustments. Anyway, she is handling all of that with her sort of typical positivity, and she has also got a new design out. She is designed by Kumbi on Ravelry. She designs knit and crochet, and she uses mainly worsted upwards, so worsted chunky bulky weight yarn. And her latest pattern is called the Renaissance Cow, and it is the one she's got for her pattern picture is yellow, so obviously love it, and it's just bobbles galore. It's just amazing. Huge chunky cow, really cozy. She's also got the Autumn Leaves Cow, which is a knitted pattern, which is just this lovely not lace but sort of textured pattern. And the Julia Souch beanie is another one that I really love. That's also a knit pattern using chunky yarn. I'm going to need to get some chunky yarn into my stash, or just start holding things. How many strands of fingering weight yarn would you need to hold together to get chunky? Probably a lot. I'm probably just better off buying some chunky yarn. Anyway, so that is Kumbi. She's amazing too. Please go and check out her feed and her designs. That's all I'm going to talk about for showing love today. I have many more people I want to talk about. People I've discovered via the diversity hashtag, people I've discovered via recommendations on YouTube, people that I've just discovered randomly because someone mentioned them, or I found them on Etsy or whatever. I always got people I want to talk about, so just tune in for future episodes. Right, I'm going to stop and charge my camera, so if when I come back I'm in a slightly different angle, that's why. I'm back. Okay, we're all plugged in now, so sorry if the angles changed slightly. I had to take it off the stand. It also seems a bit wobblier than it was before, so fingers crossed we stay together. Okay, so moving on from sharing the love, we're going to go into incoming things. Okay, incoming. I've got a few little things, not too much, but a few. I've had 2 of the Little French Meadow mini skein clubs come in for February and March, so I thought I'd share those with you. The February one was called Togetherness, and the 2 colourways are called Me and You and You and Me, and they are beautiful. I'm showing them together now. There they are. Me and you and you and me. Aren't they lovely? All the lights change. It's quite a windy day and there's lots of clouds flying across the sky and the sun's going in and out, in and out. And you always get a little stitch marker with the Little French Meadow mini skein club. Oh, and it's a little love letter for February, of course, for Valentine's Day. So that is the February one, and then I've got the March one here, which marks the end of my current subscription. So I have hinted massively to my husband, who will usually gets me this for my birthday. So hopefully he's taken the hint. So the March one is called Crafter's Cottage, and the 2 colourways are irises and parchment papers. So this must be irises, which is absolutely gorgeous. That would go really well with those other ones I was showing you earlier. And then this is parchment. Oh, this is lovely. Sometimes they do minis where I think, oh, I hope that you release that as a full skein. Can you imagine the ribbit tee in that colourway? That would be lovely. I didn't say the ribbit tee I think is a DK weight. Did I say what it was? Ribbit-tee. No, I'm not sure, but I don't know if it's a DK one or not. Anyway, the mini skeins in the mini skein club are always fingering weight. Just lovely. So that must be parchment. And then the little stitch marker for March for Crafter's Cottage is some scissors. You've got to have some scissors. So really pleased with my little mini skein club as ever. I've got a nice big tub upstairs where I put all of my Little French Meadow minis, and one day I will there's a few projects that use lots and lots of minis that I want to make with them, but they just look nice in the tub. The other thing that I got, I ordered a pin and I forgot to show it to you last time, and it's from Caroline, who is Caroline Love to Sew, and she is the person that did the Sybil the Sheep pin. So there's Sybil the Sheep there, you see her. And then for this year she did a new pin especially. Ooh, there it is. Oh, there we go. So you can see it's a little heart-shaped ball of yarn with flowers and knitting needles sticking out of it. How cute is that? And it's a really nice size. So this bag is from Mrs. S Creations. Yeah. If you can see Mrs. S Creations. And this was a gift at the end of last year. She sent a prize for the Strictly Sock Along, and she sent two bags and I could pick one. So I've been putting all of my very most favourite pins on it. So on the back here I've got my Life is One Big Work in Progress from Chrissy Crafts, and I've got various ones here on the front. This is my Gryffindor pin from when we went to the Warner Brothers Studios, because I am Gryffindor. Growing up is optional. This is from Betsy Makes. That is a gift from my lovely friend Sarah. That's my pin. And this is the Hey Barbara pin from lovely Ellie at Craft House Magic, because I'm a big Barbara fan. So yeah, so that was one of my incoming things that I forgot to show you last time. Am I in focus? I think I am. I think it's just the mirror is smeary behind. Oh, I'm really racing through, aren't I? I do apologise. I've only had one cup of tea. It's not like I'm on a caffeine rush or anything like that. So the other thing that I ordered, I have not been very good at catching up with podcasts recently, just partly because I've just had so much life stuff going on that I haven't had time. It's just been frantic. But also because I've been binge watching a couple, which doesn't happen often. I don't often binge watch podcasts, but there were two that I've got into. So the first one is Tales from Cuckoo Land, who is lovely Gaynor, who contacted me. She messaged me, I think, on Instagram, and she was just so lovely, and she said she had a podcast, and I went to check it out, and it's just lovely. So I've been very slowly working my way through her entire back catalogue of videos, and now she's doing Marchmas. So I've been watching that every day. Yeah, she's doing daily videos throughout March, which I didn't even know. I've never heard of Marchmas. So it's really lovely to see her as she just kind of, I don't know, plods about in her everyday life and in her beautiful home with her beautiful family. So I've been really enjoying that. But I've also been binge watching another lady called Kaz, and she came up as a recommendation on my YouTube. She is the Wee So-and-so, and she's based in Scotland. She's near Fort William, which means she's on the west side of Scotland. I watched one episode and had to just go back and watch from the beginning because she sounds like my mum. My mum's lived in England now for sort of 45 years, so she's pretty much, her accent is still there, but it's a lot softer. My parents are Scottish, so my dad he was born in Glasgow and he grew up a lot of his life in Edinburgh. And my mum is from Fife, and she grew up a lot of her life in Aberdeenshire, hence why my family are there. To listen to her talking was just like listening to my family, and it was lovely. I could just listen to her all day. So I've been watching her podcast from the very beginning, and yesterday I caught up and I'm on her latest episode now. So hi Kaz. I love your podcast. And she always talks about Piggy's Market, who is a Etsy seller who makes bags, and she's got lots of her bags. I think it's is it Raquel? Can't remember. Not Raquel. Rianne, I think is her name. She's Piggy's Market on Etsy. And purely because Kaz talked about her so much and because I've been binge watching, there's her details. Isn't that a beautiful card? Really pretty. Didn't really take that in when I first got it. Isn't that pretty? The little buttons as flowers. Anyway, that Piggy's Market. And then I went onto the Etsy shop and I saw that she had a couple of bags for in a sale. They were discounted. And I got this one. I'm saying this now. I don't need any project bags. I've got lots. But I really needed this one. It's a lot bigger than I expected as well, which was a lovely surprise. So excuse the shadow. But the reason I bought it, look at those little bikes. They reminded me so much of Denmark, where they travel by bike everywhere, in Copenhagen, but they also remind me of our holidays biking in Cornwall, and I just love that fabric. And I ummed and ahed for a while, and in the end I thought, do you know what, I've got a little bit of Christmas money, I'm going to pay that into my bank account and I'm going to put some of it towards buying this little bag. It wasn't expensive at all, and it is perfect. It's not interfaced. And it's lined just with a lovely simple white lining, and it could not be more perfect. See, it's quite big. It's a lot bigger than I expected. So yeah, it'd be a good shawl size, definitely. And it came with this gorgeous, it was all wrapped up nicely, and it came with this gorgeous little bee progress keeper, which is the wrong way around. Let's put it the right way around. Oh. Stay where I put you, little bee. So I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with that. So thank you very much, Rianne. She's never heard of me. She won't be watching this podcast. But thank you to Kaz for introducing me to Rianne, because I'm thrilled to bits with this beautiful bag. And I feel like I've really treated myself. But also because I paid my Christmas money. So I had some Christmas. What happened was my dad always used to give me some money at Christmas. And he always used to just give me a card and say, I've transferred such and such to your account. And my stepmom wants to carry on in some way some of those traditions that he did. So at Christmas, she just gave me some cash with my Christmas card. And I've had it just up on the shelf since then, really, because I wanted to spend it on something that I really wanted and needed. I didn't want to just spend it on anything. I wanted it to be something that I knew was going to be a really good way to use the money she'd given me. So I bought that bag and I bought a couple of other little bits, and then I bought something that I've really needed for ages, but I haven't wanted to spend the money on because in a way it seems a bit boring, even though I'm really excited by it. And I invested in blocking mats. So these had really good reviews on Amazon. They come with some blocking pins as well, and they've got this handy little bag for them to live in. And it's something I really, really needed. They've also got grid lines on the back, and very helpful instructions about how to block something. Yes, I'm really, really pleased with them. Some of the reviews said they smelt a bit funny, but I've opened them up and I've had a sniff. I'll do it again now. And I don't think they smell at all, really. They smell slightly like they're made of foam. But that's it. And I think they're going to last me a long, long time, because at the moment I block on my bedroom carpet because I don't like my bedroom carpet. And at some point in the next year, we are going to be redecorating our bedroom, and it won't be an option anymore. So I knew that I had to invest in something a little bit more practical for blocking. So that is my other incoming thing, and I think that's everything for incoming now. So let's move along now to giveaways. So before I announce the winners of the 5,000 subscriber giveaway and the winner of the Rustic Elegance shawl by Jen Sheelan, and the two winners of the two patterns for I've got a thread in my mouth, from Cozy Cute Knits, Naomi at Cozy Cute Knits, I've got a new giveaway to announce, which I should have announced last time, and actually should have announced the time before that, because I am a complete donut and I've forgotten not once but twice to do this. So sorry to Viv, lovely Viv, who is Fran de Fleurs, who is the designer of the crochet bed sock pattern, the daydreaming socks, which I made last year during the crochet sock along. I made these and I love them. They are supposed to be bed socks, and mine I've been wearing in my wellies, and they've been perfect. They are absolutely perfect. They do not shift, they do not fall down. You know that bit where your sock works its way down into your welly? Oh, yeah, they don't do that. So they are absolutely perfect. And because I made them with Norwegian wool, which was a gift at some point in the past for my friend Lily, who is Nordic Stitches, they are beautifully warm and I absolutely love them. I'm so happy with them. But at the time, Viv gave me a copy of that pattern to give away on the podcast, and I've forgotten about it ever since. Every time I write it down and then I just go past it and forget to do it. So huge apologies to lovely Viv, who has been very patient. And we will now do a giveaway for the daydreaming socks. So the last, I think, by the way, if you want to see me talking about them, it was in episode 38, if you want to see the finished objects. So go to the thread. I've set up a thread in Ravelry, or I haven't yet, but I will do. By the time you're watching this, there'll be a thread in Ravelry for the giveaway for the daydreaming socks. It'll be linked below, and just go in there and tell me what your favourite thing is to daydream about. Mine is yarn and sitting down and cake and wine and biscuits and going on holiday and going on Ravelry and daydreaming about all the things I don't have the time to make. But if you tell me what your favourite thing to daydream about is, and I will draw a winner in the next episode. Okay, winners, time to announce winners. I've just seen something else that I haven't shown you. I'll show you in a minute. Dodgy bag and yarn. The yarn's not dodgy, the bag is dodgy. Lovely yarn and dodgy bag. So, and I said I would put a drawstring in this ready, which I haven't, but I have got the drawstring, it's arrived, I've just got to put it in. So I made this lovely little yoga bag. It's not interface, so it's nice and squidgy, fit in your handbag. I've done a little thing there. It's very dodgy and it's got this lovely yoga print, because I love yoga. And inside I've got this lovely yarn, and it is from Little Stone Cottage Yarns, and the colourway is Daisy Toes. And this was a lovely skein of yarn that Nikki at Little Stone Cottage Yarns donated to the podcast for a giveaway. Really bright saturated colours. Oh, it kind of goes with my jumper actually. I quite like that. Yes, so that is going to go in there. That is a pattern, and also one of my little drops of wonderful pins if you would like one. If you've already got one, you don't have to have another one, but maybe you might want an extra one for a friend. So that is the pattern for the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. And I closed the thread this morning, and I used randomnumber.org instead of our friend Alexa this time, because Phoebe was in the middle of doing her homework and I didn't want to disturb her. So there were 126 entries for this one, excluding my first post, and the winning post number came up as number 67, and that was Penny in Colorado, and your username is Rocky MTN Penny, which I've just realised, Rocky Mountain Penny, which I don't know why I've never realised that before, because I see and talk to you fairly frequently on Instagram, Penny, don't I? So well done, you have won the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. It's always lovely when you draw a random number and it's someone that you recognise. So well done, Penny. Get in touch with me, just drop me a message on Instagram or Ravelry and let me know your address, and I will get that posted out to you. The prompt for that giveaway, and I just came up with this like just at the very last minute. I was completely unprepared, and I said to share a book or a poem or a verse or a saying or a quote that has just stayed with you throughout your life or changed your life in some way, or just, you know, just something that has affected you. I would highly recommend that you go and look at that thread. Honestly, I'm so glad that I asked that question, because that thread is full of the most amazing recommendations. It's full of amazing and inspiring quotes, for one thing, It's full of amazing recommendations for books, some of which I've read and had entirely forgotten about. And just to see them come up in that list and think, oh my goodness, I read that in my 20s and I'd entirely forgotten. And I didn't think anyone else had heard of that book. And there it is. And then there's other books that I've never heard of. And then there's some quotes and there's sayings and there's all different types. There's fictional books, non-fictional books, religious books, making books, books about pregnancy or motherhood. So many recommendations for books. I would highly recommend you go and take a look through that. It's still a sticky at the top of the Ravelry group. So go and have a look, because you'll find some amazing and inspiring ideas in there. So well done, Penny. Get in touch with me, and thank you to everybody who entered and took the time to write such detailed entries into that. It was really, really lovely to read through, and I'm definitely going to be ordering some books from the library to read following that thread. Right, bit of a tangent there. Right, the next one was the sock. There was 2 sock patterns donated by lovely Naomi, who is Cozy Cute Knits, and she donated the Swish and Flick socks and the What Lies Within socks. So there's one of each of those patterns, which I will just allocate randomly. And the prompt for that was, I think, have you read the Harry Potter books? So everyone that was entering was answering that question, and I think on the whole it was yes. And there was even some really good pictures in there as well of people geeking out about Harry Potter, shall we say. It was really, really good to look through. So thank you to everyone that entered. In total there were 58 posts, excluding my first one, and the winning number for the first pattern came out as number 57, right at the end. And that is Janie 500. So Janie, if you could get in touch with me to let me know that you've seen this. Actually, you don't need to do that really. I will just ask Naomi to send you the pattern. So there you go. But it'd be nice to know that you've seen it anyway. And the next winner was post number 24, and that was Joe 9919, and that's Joe. And again, I will ask Naomi to send one of the patterns directly to you. So well done, and thank you everyone for entering. Now, the final giveaway that we had from last time was the Rustic Elegant shawl, which is an absolutely stunning shawl pattern from Jen Sheelan. And I've just realised I've completely forgotten what the prompt was for it. So let's go and have a look. Right, my charger's run out of battery and my phone's on 20%, so I'm just going to have to speed up, stop talking. Okay, so the Rustic Elegant shawl was a lovely pattern donated to us by Jen Sheelan. It really is beautiful. I've been looking at yarns to make this, and there were some lovely projects of it as well. And oh yes, I remember now. The prompt for it was cables or lace. That was it, because it was a textured pattern with lots of lace in it and kind of a ribbed section. So I said cables or lace. And the winning post was, there was 55 posts, excluding mine, and the winner was post 30. And that was CR Suttles, and that is Cindy. And I'm going to have a quick look, seeing as I've got it in front of me, to see what you said. Cables or lace? I love some, I'm going to sound really silly saying this because I'm British, but she says, I love some lace. Yes, ma'am. I told you I'd sound ridiculous saying that. So well done to all the winners. I will ask the designers to get those patterns sent out to you. And thank you hugely to all of the lovely designers that have donated patterns. So thank you to Viv at Fran de Fleurs. Thank you to Jen Sheelan. Thank you to Naomi at Cozy Cute Knits. And a big thank you to Nikki at Little Stone Cottage Yarns for the yarn that you donated as well. I am always thrilled to bits when people donate things for prizes. It's lovely to share the love. Share the yarn. Share the project. Just share. Stop talking. You're on 20%. Let's go. Right, project from Yore. This is where I share an old project from the past that for your amusement or enjoyment. And today is an interesting one because it's a bag. It's a pattern I made up. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a heart on it. Now the heart grid pattern comes from the Stitch and Bitch book by Debbie Stoller, which is how I initially kind of taught myself to knit. The interesting thing is that I forgot that I'd done that. So about 2.5 years ago, when I first picked up the needles to learn how to make socks and started knitting, I knew how to knit, and I thought that was left over from sort of my childhood, I'd forgotten that I had gone through a period of teaching myself to knit again. I'd almost entirely wiped it from my memory with this book, so much so that I actually asked for that book for Christmas for my sister, only to be told by my sister that I'd lent it to her years before and perhaps I might like it back instead. I'd completely forgotten. Anyway, so I was practicing doing knitting and purling on this sort of acrylic yarn from Hobbycraft. And then I think I just turned it into, I did an end bit at each end, which was just a garter stitch, and then I seamed it together there, so that, and then I knitted it together. I must have picked up, oh no I didn't, I must have done that, I must have knit a garter ridge at the bottom and then seamed that together as well, and then I somehow lined it with tropical fabric, with tropical bird fabric, and sewed in handles, and actually came up with a pretty, you know, nifty little handbag. So I just have this hanging in my wardrobe. I never really use it, but it's really quite cool. I just made it up years ago. And I think it's quite interesting because I would have done that before the advent of Instagram and Twitter and knowing about Ravelry or any of this kind of social media stuff. And I was a little bit more free and braver, I think. Freer and braver. More free and more brave, or whatever the correct English is, about just messing around and having a go and playing with it and not getting things perfect and not being embarrassed. And it's interesting because I wouldn't think to do that now. I feel more cautious now, and I think it's because of seeing so much information on social media about how brilliant everyone else is. It just makes me less brave. It's funny that, isn't it? So that's my project from Yore. The next thing, right, okay, so I'm pretty much finished. You'll be glad to know. I'm pretty much finished with the rambling. I've been talking for hours, but I just wanted to show you one more thing. I dyed some yarn. I was going to show you this in finished subjects. This is called Snowdrop. I dyed this yesterday, or the day before. It dried yesterday, and it's inspired by all the snowdrops that are out in the woods at the moment. I just dye for the fun of it, and it was fun. So that is Snowdrop. And that is, yeah, very pleased with that. And then I've come up with a new thing that, because I don't talk enough in my podcast, I thought I'd add a new section, and I'm going to call it the Box of Singular Loveliness. Okay. The idea, this is a box that I was gifted this yarn, actually. This was from a lovely viewer of the podcast, and it's a beautiful yarn by Afternoon Treats. And I think this yarn is going to be socks. And I've taken it out and I put it to one side, and I'm putting that into my stash. But I'm using the box, which smells lovely because there's a huge bag of lavender in here. And the Box of Singular Loveliness is a bit of a silly idea I had to encourage me to use my beautiful single skeins of yarn. So I'm not buying any yarn until Fibre East. I'm going to go to Fibre East in July with my sister, and I'm going to meet up with a few lovely yarny friends on the day. We're going to go on the Sunday, and I'm not buying any yarn until then. And in that time I want to try and use some of the yarn that's been languishing in my stash, and a lot of that yarn are just those beautiful, irresistible single skeins of yarn. They don't have partners, there's just a single skein. And this is to encourage me to start to use them in one skein projects. So what's in the Box of Singular Loveliness today? It's like play school. What's through the round window? Well, children, in the Box of Singular Loveliness today is this beautiful skein of Nora George yarn. It is Snowdrop. Ah! Oh my goodness, I just stole Nora George's yarn name. I called this Snowdrop, but this is Snowdrop. I better not put them together because then you'll just see how shameful my dyeing is. Anyway, so yes, apparently I've subconsciously stolen yarn names. But this is a much prettier Snowdrop by Nora George, and this was a gift from my lovely friend Lou, who is Foxy Yarn, and she sent this to me. She's very lovely, and she has gifted me some lovely skeins of yarn, and this was a very special one because it's got gold sparkle in it, and it was part, I think it was one of the charity yarns for Marie Curie, which they did for the Flower Power Fund. So this is Nora George Snowdrop, and I've been holding on to this for ages, wondering what it might possibly be. And I think I have decided what it's going to grow up to be. So also in the box today's pattern is brought to you by the letter S for souvenir shawl, or super faded because you can't really see it. The souvenir shawl. It is it's a pattern by Maria Samuelson, and actually Maria gifted this to me because I was talking about how much I loved it on Instagram, and I have a souvenir shawl that was made for me. And it was made for me by a lovely winner. So the winner of one of the giveaways won a skein of yarn, and then she used that skein of yarn to make me a souvenir shawl and send it back to me. And honestly, it was one of the best things that's ever happened. It was so fun. So thank you so much, Ellie, who was the person that knitted it. I've forgotten your username, Ellie. I'm going to put it on the screen because I've forgotten it. And then because I was talking about it, the designer gifted me the pattern, and it really is a gorgeous pattern. It's specifically for those souvenir skeins of yarn that you pick up, just a single skein, and I think this is what that's going to be. And it might be for me, or it might be a gift, because what I want to start doing as well is building up a box of gifts that I have to give at Christmas to family members or very close friends, or only people who are knit worthy, basically. So that is my first thing in the box of Singular Loveliness. So hopefully that means I will cast that on and get that started, along with everything else, you know, because I've got all the time in the world to just sit and crochet and knit. I wish. So that is my new thing, the box of Singular Loveliness. You won't see it every time, but I'm hoping that it will encourage me to start using those singular skeins. All right, I'm done. Mic drop, yarn drop. I am done. I think that is everything. I'm pretty sure I haven't forgotten anything. I've been talking for ages. So hopefully you enjoy a long episode. I know I do. I know when I see like my favourite podcasts pop up and I see they're a good hour or longer, I'm like, yes, that suits me. I'll get my cup of tea and my knitting and my crochet and just settle in and just enjoy it. So I think that's everything. I will not leave it as long next time, I promise. I need to do some vlogs again as well, don't I? Yeah, I'll think about when to do that, but I might do some daily vlogs again soon. Take care. I hope you enjoy whatever you're working on. Have a lovely crafty time, and I will see you for episode 43 in a couple of weeks' time. Bye.